Greetings and salutations, and thank you for returning to the MN notifications. What follows Ilia Topuria's victory at UFC 308? That's the first topic we'll cover today. El Mater kept his word and became the first guy to put away Blessed with strikes, saving Ilia Topuria from what appeared to be an inevitable vulnerability against Max Holloway, one of the all-time greats. Please hit the like button on the video before we go any further, it will much appreciate it. As expected, Holloway retaliated with his trademark stinging jab and continual movement in response to Topuria's strong leg kicks and overhand rights. There was a point when Topuria had the upper hand thanks to a well-timed takedown, but Holloway quickly recovered and got back up. As Holloway kept landing punches and check hooks in round 3, it began to appear as though he could actually pull off the upset. But then Topuria sent the legendary player to the deck with a follow-up left after brutally wobbling him with a rumbling right hand. Shortly after, the altercation came to a halt. Now that Topuria has maintained his featherweight title, a rematch with Alexander Volkanovski seems certain. Given Volk's reign as champion, it's reasonable to assume that Topuria Volkanovski will also be promoted by the UFC. Volk was present at the event. Topuria and Volkanovski hugged in the cage after the bout, and Topuria also said that Volkanovski should have a rematch. If you ask Holloway, maybe his days of being a 145-pound champion fighter are over. Blessed may have been written off a number of occasions, but Holloway is turning 33 shortly and has lost 4 fights. Perhaps Holloway will be fighting in a super fight at 155. By stating, sometimes you get a highlight, then sometimes you're the highlight, Max Holloway returned to social media after his loss at UFC 308 while remaining silent. Which is why mixed martial arts is the most insane sport ever. Well done, El Matador. We are good, my loved ones and backers. No rest for the Bless Express just yet. We are traveling to an unknown location. Have your ticket on hand. Amaze yourself. Your kindness and support mean the world to me. Dustin Poirier criticized Holloway for his retirement bout after their fight. Max's response is this: it would be good, you know. But Diamond, please enroll me, sir. That guy is very cute. Despite my admiration for the man, he is currently leading my A by a score of 2-0. My luck isn't great because I always seem to be up against 2-0 opponents, so I suppose I'll just have to give it another shot. Are you in agreement? Will you also be interested in seeing Topuria Volkanovski? What arena would you like to see Holloway fight in the future? Aslan Makhachev is the first person Ilia Topuria expects to submit, so she warns him. What Ilia said was this: absolutely not. To tell the truth, not at all. Being a fantastic striker, I was anticipating that he would be difficult to play against. That was shown time and time again within the confines of the octagon. He's a patient fighter and a top striker in the featherweight category in the UFC, highly effective in achieving a balance, so I was hoping for the best from him, but I'm also prepared to deal with anything like that happens in the belly. Following UFC 308, what is ahead for Sharabuddin Magomedov? The Sharbullet craze is going full steam ahead after Sharabuddin Magomedov's shocking UFC 308 victory. The budding celebrity was put to the test by Arman Petrosyan, just as everyone had anticipated. It seems like Petrosyan startled the Dagestani fighter with a strong blow early in the battle, and he promptly kicked Magomedov's legs. In round 2, both fighters kept putting up a display of impressive strikes, but Magomedov appeared to be winning the round. Magomedov then stunned the mixed martial arts world late in the frame with a double spinning submission that sent Petrosyan down to the canvas. His first spinning back fist missed its mark, so he followed up with a walk-off spinning punch to end the Russian. After winning 4 fights in a row in the UFC, what is next for Sharbullet? I'm glad you asked. Following the fight, the undefeated boxer demanded a rematch with Israel Adesanya, the former champion. You should realize that there are likely millions of people who would be interested in watching that bout. The likelihood of that fight taking place next is low, though, because neither Magomedov nor Adesanya are currently ranked in the top 15 of their respective middleweight divisions. A bout with a top-ranked 185er might be on the horizon for Sharbullet, but the final style bender wouldn't stand to benefit much from winning that bout. Are you in agreement? To whom do you hope Magomedov will next extend a handshake? What the MMA world thinks of Jon Jones's new video. Jon Jones just posted a video of himself and the wildly buff grappler Gordon Ryan working out together. Ryan is known for his impressive physique. Jones, who had previously won the light heavyweight title, had been bulking up ever since he decided to fight at heavyweight a few years ago. In the weeks leading up to his showdown with former champion Stipe Miocic on November 16th. Jones released this message and video of himself exercising. "I can't believe my trainers take joy in seeing me struggle. Everything will be worthwhile in the end." But it didn't take long for some fans to use the occasion to either support the renowned fighter or make fun of Jones. Some of the remarks in Bones' replies are here. Observation from a fan: "At some point I hope you'll be able to complete a depth squat correctly." The reply from Jones: "Eventually I hope you'll achieve superstar status and be famous all over the globe. They'll check out your Instagram and point out all the ways you fall short. I hope you have a good fight." The fans say, "I'll be watching from the comfort of my own home beside my equally devoted father, who is a major fan. I assure you, John, I will not let you down." My favorite part of this fan remark is when the Karen Haoa woman appears in the video to voice her dissatisfaction with street instruction. "My coach would make sure she couldn't stop us," John said with a grin. "Yeah, they'd say he has 8 sprints left. It would be great if my work paid off and I could defeat Stipe. A 42-year-old who hasn't fought in 4 years. Gordon Ryan is so unbearably cringeworthy that it's almost comical." Jones's appearance during UFC 309 Fight Week will be intriguing to observe. Once UFC 308 is over, what is ahead for Magomed Ankalaev? By extending his undefeated streak 13 streak at UFC 308, Magomed Ankalaev almost certainly secured a bout with light heavyweight dominating Alex Pereira. Despite defeating Alexander Rakic, the Dagestani fighter likely failed to impress the general public. Rakic started off by kicking Ankalaev in the legs, body, and head, but the contender showed no fear and kept pressing forward. Ankalaev began frequently tagging Rakic with straight lefts to the body and head as the battle progressed. Nothing changed in round 3, and Ankalaev was officially declared the winner by decision following the final whistle. After this, the surging contender's next move is unclear. Given Ankalaev's victory, it would be unexpected if he didn't receive the battle he wanted. No matter if Ankalaev didn't get a finish or make any internet sensations with his victory today, a confrontation with Padita is still in the cards. With his perfect record behind him, Ankalaev has a leg up on the other top 5 players who might be booked for POA 10. After Padita defeated Khalil Rountree Jr., it's reasonable to assume that no one else in the top 10 is a title contender at 205. Could the UFC postpone the bout and instead watch the heavyweight class for developments if they determine that there is little interest in a Padita vs. Ankalaev fight? Is UFC 309 the end of the road for John Jones and Stipe Miocic? Additionally, Tom Aspinall is on the hunt for a rival. Are POA services being considered by the UFC? Are you in agreement? In response to Dana White's remarks, Francis Ngannou lashes out. The highly publicized breakup between Francis Ngannou and the UFC has long since faded from view. But now Ngannou is retaliating for Dana White's latest attack on the feared slugger. After White left the UFC in 2022, he and Ngannou exchanged remarks through the media. Their rivalry has cooled off a bit when Ngannou faced battle against boxing greats like Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. But White has been taking questions over the Predator back in the wake of Ngannou's success in the PFL debut. White has maintained his position that Ngannou would have been better off financially had he remained a UFC employee. However, he declined the offer because he was unwilling to engage in a confrontation with John Jones. Ngannou, according to Dana White, is completely focused on the money. He was afraid that if he lost to Jones, he would lose any hope of receiving significant paydays in the future. After losing to Stipe Miocic and Derek Lewis in 2018, White is now asserting that he intended to cut Ngannou. The newly crowned PFL Superfight heavyweight champion retaliated at White in a more recent interview with Sirius XM. It seems like Dana is attempting to make things right in order to put a positive spin on his lost position. Only he can comprehend Dana's predicament, and even then she's lost. I desire everything, my friend. Somewhere over 2 years have passed since I departed, and that dude still insists he needs it. Regardless of what transpired, I am not about him, and he still can't manage me. A fight broke out when I went outside. A fierce battle for the legacy of my son. Even he can stand. No idea what's wrong with him, dude, but, well, he's free to invent whatever he wants. Yes, that is an issue. He must reconcile with himself. You may have simply stated that we were unable to reach an agreement or something along those lines. We were unable to reach an agreement, however, we wish him the best of luck. It's done, well done to him, and so our lives go on. Where is the issue, just so you are aware? However, I believe the issue lies in his ability to cope with this setback. He's been hoping for my demise. In fact, I dare say he's been praying for it. Then I simply continue ascending as usual. You know, I've grown up a bit since I quit the UFC. Now, it's important to remember that in 2021, White was also casting doubt on Jones's motivation to confront Ngannou, even if you accept his claim that the Predator dove Jones. It follows. There are many who believe White is out to undermine Ngannou's pursuit of boxing and mixed martial arts MMA skills in order to free himself from the UFC's contractual restrictions. I pray for Francis, believe me, I don't think about Francis that much. Dana White said in response to Francis Ngannou's remarks during last night's news conference. Regarding the PFL, you posed the question and I answered you. Outside of that, though, who are you to say anything? Ngannou says White is being a spoiled brat, but do you believe he's right? Unveiling the latest UFC battles? The UFC matchmakers have just finished a number of projects, so let's move on to those. A bantamweight bout between Said Nurmagomedov and Daniel Marcos has been added to the UFC's forthcoming December 14th event in Tampa, Florida, according to MMA Junkie. Since the Dagestani fighter has had multiple contests in 2024 canceled, this fight will be his first fight of the year. His most recent fight was in October of 2023, when he used a guillotine choke to swiftly submit Moyen Giafarov. A contrast to this is that Marcos has already fought twice in 2024. His bout with Ariki Lang in February ended in a no contest when the latter was knocked out by a low punch. Marcos improved his record to 1-6-0 with a June unanimous decision triumph over John Castaneda. The victor of this crucial bout has a good chance of moving up the bantamweight rankings and into the top 15. Marcos has won all 4 of his fights since signing with the UFC through Dana White's Contender Series, while Nurmagomedov has a 7-2 record in the cage. The legendary kickboxer Cesar Almeida will face off against the hard-hitting Abdulrazak Alhassan in the middleweight class at UFC Vegas 101 on January 11th, according to Leo Guinness. Since joining the UFC through Dana White's Contender Series last year, Almeida has gone 2-1 in official UFC fights. The Brazilian defeated Ihor Portera by decision in his most recent bout earlier this month at UFC 307. Meanwhile, Alhassan is riding high on a no contest as Cody Brundage's match was canceled due to the latter's inability to continue after taking illegal elbows to the back of the head. Last October, Alhassan lost by submission to Joe Pfeiffer, and this fight was the result. It seems like Alhassan has a lot more at stake in this fight, what with the potential consequences of losing. A loss would likely mean the end for the Ghanaian fighter's time in the UFC, as he has gone 2-5 with the 1-0 contest since 2020. Robert Whittaker vs. Khamzat Chimaev recap: the most recent triumph of Khamzat Chimaev was closely watched. He defeated Kamaru Usman last year via decision. That, however, will not and should not be the case with Borza's most recent victory. At the very beginning of their bout at UFC 308, the undefeated fighter knocked out the former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker. The bout was scheduled to take place in the co-main event. Whittaker struggled mightily for a few minutes to stand up, but he was unsuccessful. After some time, Chimaev got Whittaker's back and tried to choke him. Finally, he locked a crank over Whittaker's jaw, which made him tap out of the hold. According to what was said during the broadcast, Whittaker had alerted his corner that he had hurt his jaw, and Chimaev had told Daniel Cormier that he felt something snap. Will Chimaev earn a title chance after calling for one after the fight? Is it possible that he could outrun Sean Strickland and face off against the current middleweight king? Du Plessis is Drake's next target? Currently, that is the most important question. Drake has to feel really sad for Rob, was Du Plessis' social media reaction following Khamzat's victory. This is the battle and he appears quite prepared. You did an excellent job, Khamzat. Having said that, I'm really looking forward to taking your O. With Khamzat's major victory, Sean Strickland also entered the title race. Just so you know, I am the one that comes after you. Everything has been said and written about it. January and February have been a rough go for Dragos Duplessis and me. Remain in Chechnya for a few months. Apologies, but the UAE is not permitted in Chechnya. However, in the meanwhile, crypto frauds, is there someone you'd like to see take on DDP next? Sean Strickland or Khamzat? Post a comment telling us what you think. After today's victory, Paul Felder said that, in his opinion, Chimaev is now in the lead for the title. The confirmation of DDP vs. Strickland 2 by Dana White, however, came very recently. The rematch is still on the table, according to Strickland's latest report. Unfortunately, White and the UFC have a history of changing their minds after announcing a bout. Therefore, the sky's the limit. Are you in agreement? In early 2025, may Boers face off against Duplessis? It will be intriguing to watch Whittaker's future endeavors. Even at 33 years old, he is undeniably one of the best middleweights of all time. 3 times since 2022, though, he has lost. It will probably be a long and difficult road for him to get back into title contention. Khamzat says he wants to fight Alex Pereira at light heavyweight. This is his speech. Naturally, I want to advance, as I mentioned 3 belts a long time ago. However, I am unsure of the denim weights and UFC ones. I need to be at least my weight if they put me first. You must seize the belt. That meant I had to give it some thought too. Following UFC 308, Robert Whittaker finally discusses his broken jaw. Khamzat Chimaev choked Whittaker to death during their bout. Whittaker had his jaw popped. To set the record straight, Whittaker posted to Instagram, "I appreciate all the love and support," he added. "It can be challenging at times, but that's just the nature of the job." Gratitude is extended to Khamzat. Simply put, he was the superior man tonight. I was elated, I was prepared, and everything was in order. I had my teeth pushed in, but otherwise my jaw is fine. It's a valid reason to address them correctly at this moment, he. Despite my disappointment, I always manage to emerge stronger from any obstacle or setback. Thus, this is also not unique. My entire team and everyone who helped me get here deserve my deepest gratitude. The moment has come to spend some quality time with loved ones. See you shortly. Robert Whittaker's jaw injury was explained in detail by a doctor. This is his speech. It is quite probable that he has a fracture in the mandible, the bone that makes up our lower jaw line. There are likely 2 fracture lines that allow this component to float. The forearms are visible down below, essentially shattering and dismantling the jaw in reverse. Because this mandible fracture is unstable, it will need to be fixed with plates and screws. To do this, doctors will create an incision here, peel back the lip, realign the bones, and then fix it. Good luck to Robert Whittaker, but holy cow, you're acting like a beast. Primary remarks: it makes me very delighted that all my beloved warriors were banished to the underworld. I was under the impression that Robbie tapped too soon, but after seeing the pictures, I realized that Khamzat must be quite strong. I now hold Ilya and Khamzat in the highest esteem. Great job. Many thought Max would channel Mayweather for 5 rounds before knocking him out in the 10th.